the end of the day, when we look at therapy and the impact of therapy, at the end of the day, what people will spend on crisis is way higher than what they will spend in therapy.
It's the big conversation.
Welcome back to the show. Now let's get into the real matter. Therapy is one of the most misunderstood conversations of our time. Some people see it as a luxury, while others see it as unnecessary, and many don't actually know what it truly involves. Now, in reality, a lot of what we call coping is simply unaddressed pain. So today on The Big Conversation, we're asking, is therapy a luxury or is it a necessity? And to help us properly break this down, by Motola. She's a clinical psychologist, author, UN Peace Ambassador, and a mental health advocate with years of experience working with individuals, families, and systems around emotional healing and well-being. And she's been on the show before, so we say welcome again to the show, Motolani. Happy to have you.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Very interesting conversation we have here today. And I mean, genuinely, I know that there's a lot of confusion around the whole concept of therapy. So just for clarity's sake, can you just share with us what therapy is and what therapy is not?
Okay, thank you very much. It's exciting to be here again.
Yes.
Barrister and everyone.
Yes.
Sorry, thank you for having me. You know, a number of times while I was coming this morning, you know, I kept asking myself, luxury. I said it like 3 times. Like, luxury. I'm acting the way I was saying it,
Luxury.
like 3 times.
Yes.
Therapy, luxury. You know, and while we continue on the show, I'm just going to give some examples of feedback from some of our clients that shows that therapy is not luxury. But we'll come back to that. So, talking about therapy, therapy is an intervention for individuals, organization, couple, as the case might be, to help them navigate life difficulties, as precise as that.
Okay. I think maybe because we're Nigerians, a lot of us just go we just go with the flow. We're just coping, and just like I said before, coping sometimes, or what we think is coping, is probably just suppressing some unaddressed life issues, and you're just suppressing and suppressing until you implode, that you explode. So I don't know, do you think, now Titi, do you think it's a personality thing or it's a cultural thing where you as yourself, you're maybe just suppressing things, or maybe it's because of the way we've been conditioned as a society?
I think it's a mix of both. But most importantly, I think it's economic first to me. I mean, I think a lot of people would rather eat first, you know, before thinking about therapy. They rather pay their children's school fees, you know. So I think that a level of self-awareness and maybe, I don't want to use privilege. I use privilege very responsibly, but I think maybe access, can make you consider, you know, therapy. But I think at the basic level, I don't think people who live in low-income communities, I don't think they've been introduced to therapy. I mean, I would like to ask that to be sure I'm saying, because they have bigger fish to fry. So maybe because us on this table, we have a level of access, awareness, we can now start thinking that, oh, this thing that is happening to me is because of I need therapy. But me, I'm very conscious of inequality. So I always look at it from the point of, you know, how many people actually have access to this. So for me, I think for some people, it's still luxury at, you know, to a very large extent. But maybe with more advocacies, like with people like Motolani, would, you know, expand the reach of therapy. Because the truth is that people feel what they feel. People experience, you know, certain things that it's only because of the, I mean, gift of perspective that we can even articulate what we're feeling. So many people cannot. I can't
Doesn't
imagine,
is
yeah,
normal.
exactly. I can't imagine you meet someone who has probably not even been exposed to, basic needs of life. Maybe they still have to walk miles to go and fetch water, and you now start telling them that, how do you feel this morning? How how you do the therapy, and you ask these questions. I mean, just shed more light on that.
Okay, so let me come in exactly where Titi mentioned. Thank you for that intelligent contribution, because she speaks the heart of the people. At the point where she mentioned if people have not eaten, right, they can't think about therapy. It makes me remember a client that I just saw yesterday. According to her, she's not even cooked for years because she's going through turbulence.
Wow.
So
Because she doesn't want to cook.
not because she doesn't
have food.
She doesn't have the energy.
Oh.
That's
So when we
what
talk,
I'm
no,
talking
I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
Now, when we talk about therapy, it's not just about crisis prevention.
Yeah.
Are we together? It's about prevention itself. Because at the end of the day, talk about depression.
Yeah.
One of the pertinent symptom of depression is loss of appetite. Are you with me?
Yes.
So when you're talking about somebody who is still eating, peradventure, it hasn't eat deep. Do you get what I'm saying?
Up to the
So
point where they stop
do you
eating.
understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So a lot of people find themselves even in the space of losing appetite, not wanting to eat, and then they are wondering, why am I feeling this way? I tell a lot of people that, you see, therapy is not an upgrade. It's an infrastructure. It's just like the glasses we are wearing, right? And and that's one thing we need to demystify about people thinking that therapy is for certain people who have some kind of status, just like she was talking about.
Yeah.
Status, talking about people with some level of exposure. Like recently, I just had a training for some primary healthcare workers. And mark my word, primary healthcare workers in Lagos. So these are the people who are frontliners when it comes to health. And they meet this kind of people that you talk about in low economy. And I tell you, like she said, they all feel these things. So, we need to get off that point, because at the end of the day, when we look at therapy and the impact of therapy, at the end of the day, what people will spend on crisis is way higher than what they will spend in therapy. When we look at the impact of what people are going through, the hospitalization, loss of job, suicidal ideation, family breakup. I mean, these things are not cheap. So at the end of the day, if we leave even people coming from that, permit me to use the word low economic status, and say, okay, as long as it's basic, they can afford their basic need, they might not think about therapy. But the truth is, even their health is a basic need.
Okay,
do you get?
Yeah, just to bring Barrister Toju in here now, with all Motolani has said, she has shared how really we shouldn't view therapy as luxury, to be very honest. Maybe even a necessity. But the truth is, my question is, even if therapy was free, do you think people would still be open to the whole idea of therapy, or maybe they will still have fears or reservations, and why do you think they would?
Even if it was free, I think people will be open to it. I think we have kind of make it like an elitistic thing. That's why people are not like thinking that, it's not for me. Let me face my thing, Elubo I'm selling in the market. African cultures, it's communal.
Yes.
She gave an example. Somebody, you lost of appetite because we eat, like me growing up, everybody's eating together. Somebody wants to eat yourself, if there's anything like that. The moment you notice that, this is my cousin, you didn't eat today, and they're asking her, why are you not eating? Maybe the person will go to one other auntie that they know that one can slap her into reality. So today we are not living, everybody's living like independently. The community now, what we used to have then, because there's always somebody you run to, there's one culture, there's one woman that is there. That's therapy. Now people in these times, some people not even, they not go to their pastors, they go to their imam. Sometimes they won't get more than the dose that they went, they will not get more, because sometimes you end up getting into all kinds of things.
Yes.
Because you are thinking that, I'm talking to this person, ventilating, this person will help me. So it's because we are making it look like it's for the elite. That's why people are not open to it. Because
making it look like that. Sorry
no,
to
because
interrupt.
now the things have changed.
the-
People are not living that communal lifestyle.
anymore.
And that's why we are doing the advocacy now.
Yes.
So that everybody, it's just like saying that I have a problem with my eye. And so because I belong to the low economic status, I shouldn't get care for my eye. I tell people the mind and the brain is part of the body.
Right.
Just like your eyes, it's part of the body, right? So if anything is wrong with our eyes, and then I go to see an optician, right? And anything is wrong with my nose, my hair, and I go to see an ENT specialist.
Yeah.
If anything is wrong with my mind and my brain, or in the scope of psychology, the way you think, the way you feel, anything is wrong with those spaces or the way you behave, it is expected that you are supposed to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
However, the same onus or challenges that faces physical health is what stems to face psychological health too. So the same way we have people in low economic sphere not being able to assess proper medical, physical care in that bracket, is the same way we have the same challenge, when people want to assess psychological help.
I think one major, would I say, one thing holding people back, if it was free, is maybe the element of trust. They feel like I will just go and sit down and tell a complete stranger all my life issues. I don't know who they will go and tell it to. What would they think of me? Things like that. It may just seem a little alien to them because, to be very honest, I'm a psychology graduate. And thankfully, thankfully, my sister is also a practicing clinical psychologist. So, I think in practice, she can't particularly do therapy for me, but I know I've had the opportunity to receive, knowledge for free, you understand, just to be able to better improve how I'm thinking and all of it. But I still have that little doubt that if it's not my sister, I don't know that I would go and sit with a complete stranger and I'll start telling them all the issues of my life, and this same stranger will not be telling me what to do. So maybe that's even the element of doubt for some people, the fact that they might not trust the professional in this case. That's why they will go to pastors, because the pastor they know. Even though the pastors are not particularly trained in that profession, and they will probably just say, pray about it. It's a whole different, spirituality aspect is a different aspect. But I think that trust is what is lacking for people, and maybe also the stigma of it. Because truthfully, before you say, "Oh, I want to go and see a therapist," when you are not mad, what's wrong? Do you understand?
It's because people
That's how they
don't see
think.
it as emotional health care. If we start seeing it from that prism,
So
we know that.
that's why, to a large extent, I appreciate what you're doing today, because it's a form of advocacy. And for people who have been following me intently online, you see that I tend to post a lot of things around that, because we've even brought it to events, because I see that in events we tend to have a larger number of people that we can preach this gospel. Now it's a gospel. It's a gospel to me, because, okay, let me just read a few feedbacks to you. This person actually lost his spouse about 3 years before the person came into therapy. Name undisclosed because of confidentiality, but I have his permission to read this. Okay, so it says, I never knew. He said, I want to take this moment to express my heartfelt gratitude for your guidance and support over the past 4 sessions. I never knew I was depressed. A lot of times people don't even know. I've had people who are like, so this was what, there's a name to what I am feeling. Yes. Do you understand? So I never knew I was depressed. Your expertise and empathetic approach. Now, this is where I am going. Just the same way some people went to school to study what to do to help your eye work better. Some people also went to school to study how to make your mind work better. So I'm trying to address the idea of this trust. So when people come off the idea of, I'm going to see just somebody, it's like when you go to meet a doctor, a medical doctor, you don't ask, do you finish MBBS, or like, because you know that the person before sitting down there has passed through school. So the same way, when people know that the people that are sitting on the edge of the therapy table are not novice, they are not unschooled, they are not untrained, they are specialists, they are professionals, that have been trained in that aspect, of the mind. I might not be able to take all of this because of time. Then it says, your empathetic approach have been very instrumental in helping me understand and address my depression. I'm grateful for the safe space. I want us to underline those things. Empathetic, expertise, that comes from a professional. Safe space, you don't get that everywhere. And that's part of the things that we have learned on the job. For allowing me to open up and confront my struggle after the demise of my wife. Being a very reserved person that hardly talk, I am pleased to share that I'm gradually feeling better because this is in the onus of the mind. It's easy to have malaria and then I touch your body, you're feeling hot, right? But when it comes to mental health, depression, family breakdown, or what have you, you are not seeing any physical per se, But then and these are pains that are silent struggles, It says, I've noticed significant improvement in my overall well-being. I'm reconnecting with friends and neighbors, loved ones, and it's amazing to feel this sense of likeness and hope again. Your help has been very invaluable, and I'm thankful to have you as my therapist. I just had to stop there.
So let me just
please come in here.
So I have 2 questions. I really want to learn about this thing. So I'll be asking more questions and I'll be sharing opinion. So the first question, because I wanted to ask, at what point do you graduate? Because when you go to the hospital, you have symptoms and they treat you and then they can discharge you and say you're free from that. At what point do you get to, as a mental, that you are now certified okay? Because I asked that question because we grieve every time. If someone like me, I can grieve for someone I don't even know. I can just hear something and then my heart is, for days I am grieving for them. It might not even be a death. It might be a loss of maybe they broke up a relationship or maybe they lost an opportunity. Trust me, I am grieving for you, even when you don't know me. So each time that thing comes to mind, I still feel bad. I still feel sorrowful about it that, I wish, So I'm just saying that if you now decide to go to therapy for something that hasn't changed, like this person, his wife is not going to come back. At what point do you say, I'm now fully healed, I don't need more therapy? I'm just saying that at what point do you start self-regulating? Okay. Then the second question.
Can I answer the first so that I don't forget? Yeah. You could just help me keep that. I don't want you to forget the second one. Okay, so now it's a very, very great question. Again, and that's why a professional is needed. There's something we call activating events. Just like what you said, it can be the loss of a loved one. It might even be the loss of property. It can be the loss of a relationship. I have people that are divorced in therapy, and all of that. So it could be anything because life comes with its own baggages. However, for whatever we feel per time, depending on the severity of the symptoms that we are having, a lot of times we say that when it begins to impede on daily functioning, then you begin to raise an eyebrow that there is a problem. So it's normal for all of us to be sad when we have issues. But sadness gets to a point when it begins to affect your daily functioning. For example, you realize that for most part of the day you are sad. You realize that you begin to lose interest. Now, this person you are grieving for example, of course, most likely you are sad for the person. But you are not beginning to lose interest in activities that do you understand? So we can be sad, but I'm not getting to that point where I'm losing interest in what I usually like. I'm not losing energy. I'm not having fatigue. I'm not losing appetite. I'm not losing weight, right? So at that point where that begins to happen, a person begins to say, okay, I need help. Now, I've not answered your question yet. So at that point in time, a person can seek help. Now, while the person is seeking intervention, we have initial session. Initial session is what helps us to assess. It's a kind of clinical assessment, that helps us to assess what you're going through, put a diagnosis to it, and then determine how long of intervention and treatment that you will need. So so at that initial session, we determine, usually averagely for therapy, if it's not a severe case, it's usually 6 to 12 sessions. So within 6 to 12 sessions, it is expected that you're supposed to be better than when you came. At that point in time, all those symptoms that you came with would have significantly reduced. Like this man that was talking, he stopped attending social gatherings since his wife went. But by the time after he started attending therapy, for the first time, he attended a wedding. So can you see? So at that point, you begin to see. That was why he could get back to say that, oh, I'm beginning to see changes. He traveled for a reunion, you know. So those are, he started eating, he started cooking, you know. So those are symptoms that begin to make you feel that, okay, I'm getting better. So at that moment in time, you feel, okay, I can self. So in therapy, after that time, and we begin to see those changes, we can begin to tail out your therapy. Now, this is where I want to conclude. Because different events happen at different points in time. Just the same way you have different mosquito bites at different points in time. So when mosquito bite you today, and then you get artemether or whatever the drug is.
Still bite you next time.
Thank you. Did you get that idea? So you can't say that the same medication that you use, you
so
know,
all of us are supposed to be in therapy
so
at some point.
At some point, depending on the severity of the symptom. There are some that we just community support. Maybe you have a friend that you speak to, you're fine, and then you go. But there are some severe symptoms that with just talking to a friend, you might not, like this lady that said she has not cooked for years. Just hearing her phone rings does something to her brain. That's not something a friend can do or a sister can do, just like you said the other time. She needed to appear in therapy. Suicidal ideation was already coming in place. So at some point, that is not something I just want to let it go. But at some point, I can tell you for free that she will get well within a 6 to 12 session, depending on her response and then the severity of our case. By the time we begin to see that, it doesn't mean that in another time, when another mosquito bites, she might not need to report again to therapy.
The second question.
So because
I was
of
gonna
time,
ask
so because of
about
time,
AI.
we're probably going to have to go on the break. Then when we get back, we get to take the second question. I just see Barrister told you, just the nod, just processing it, and it's a lot to learn, and thankfully we're doing this now, so we're all changing our mindsets. We call it cognitive behavioral therapy. Now this time, you're gonna rewire the way you think and see, your mental health just as your physical health as well. The same way you go to the doctor, the same way you check your car, right? You do maintenance for your car, you do the regular, or you're supposed to do the yearly body checkup. You do same for your mind as well, and definitely you will see the changes. So we'll take a quick break. When we get back, we get more to the talking.
Voices rising, stories told, truth unfolding, brave and bold. In this space we speak our mind, different views all intertwined. It's the big conversation where the real ones talk. Bold. In this space we speak our mind, different views all intertwined. It's the big conversation where the real ones talk. Voices rising, stories told, truth unfolding, brave and bold. In this space we speak our mind, different views all intertwined. It's the big conversation where the real.
All right, it's been a great conversation so far. Now we have our agree or disagree. We see our question on the screen, and we get to agree or disagree and defend our answer. So let's see the statement for today. Okay, calling therapy a necessity ignores culture, faith, and community healing systems. Calling therapy a necessity ignores culture, faith, and community healing systems. Ladies, do you agree? Or I was even going to start with you guys. I told you. I was going to start
Yeah. Ignores faith.
Culture, faith, and community healing systems.
No, I disagree.
Barrister, I told you. Do you agree?
I don't
She
know.
has
I
not
disagree.
answered. She has not explained.
Barrister, I told you which one do.
Although they
No,
agree.
if
You want
she
to follow the
explain
teacher?
now. No, I'm not following the teacher. Once she explain, I will get some more. It's too
Clarity.
Okay,
Okay, but I need you go then, Barrister. I told you go right up.
Yeah.
Okay, so put the question again so that I can explain. Okay, so calling therapy. So what he's saying in essence is, let's assume that we have said or we have agreed that therapy is not a luxury. I mean, luxury has to do with something beyond, something that is beyond basic needs. And now we are saying this is not beyond basic needs. This is infrastructure, all right? So it's saying that, since we have agreed that, are we saying that it's neglecting faith? That means it means that when you are going for therapy, you don't need God, right? Or you don't need the church, or you don't need the whatever religious system that we are supporting, right? Then you don't need community. That means there's no need for friends. As long as I need therapy, it's just therapy. Let me leave my friend. Let me just go for therapy. Let me leave the church. Let me just go for therapy. So that's not what we are saying. It's an holistic view. So even in therapy, we advocate that while we help out with the life challenges using the tools and strategies that are in place, one of those strong things that determine how strong a person is includes faith, which is religion, community, which we call social support. In fact, research has revealed to us that clients who have stronger social support do well than clients that do not get social support. And there's a research that scientists did at some point. I share this a lot with people, that they realized that people who pray more live longer than people who do not pray. Not because science believes that there is a God, but I'm sure we can remember this Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of need, where everybody wants to have a sense of belonging. So for people that pray to God, whether that God is there or not, the fact that there is an assumed being, that you feel that, okay, I'm talking to a brother that is listening. There is a father somewhere. It seems to, satisfy that sense of belonging. So whether we like it or not, faith is still part of the journey. Community is still part of the journey. And of course, culture is definitely still part of the journey.
Love it. Barrister told you, now you can answer.
Yes, and I'm aligning myself, my answer to her own. She said she agrees, Abby.
So I disagree.
So, I said it before, traditionally, Africans, the therapy you need is for you to go to the chief priest, go to one elderly mama or your age grade, blah, blah, blah. But me, I align myself with her. I just want to say that sitting at this table, I think I need therapy. From what we have just discussed. And then a personal thing happened. When my father-in-law passed, my last daughter, she was supposed to be on 2-1. She didn't tell us on time. After the burial, one day she just called and said, I don't know what's happening to me. My grade is just dropping. I'm always feeling like somebody will die, because she was very close to grandpa. At that point, I said, okay, go and see Dr. XYZ, because she's in that field and everything. Imagine if I didn't have that kind of mindset. I'll be like, oh yeah, Adura, let us pray.
What has happened to you that the other people have not been there?
So from this table now, I just assume that for some time I've not been like really hobnobbing with people. I think I can see that I need a little bit of therapy. I think we have to do more by sensitizing people. Like in the market, the nooks and crannies of not just when you go healthcare workers, you gather them, judiciary workers. No, there are some people in Shaki. We are going to be doing stuff together because they need it. They don't know that they need such things. And people have failed them. Pastors have failed them. Afar has failed them. Even your sister has failed you. So they don't know that there is a place they can go to. But how can it be gotten at a very cheaper rate? Because the fear is already there that we cannot afford it.
And
doctor, it's expensive. What are you doing?
Okay, so we definitely have some NGOs that just the same way we have some non-governmental organizations that are also advocating for physical lesser prices for physical health. So the same way we have, but then they are great. Just the same way you have the state hospital offering physical medical intervention, the federal hospital offering that same services, and then the private offering that same services. So also like inside, yes, pro bono, you can't do pro bono for therapy because it's just like saying you want to go and take injection on pro bono, or you want to take medication on pro bono, except we are doing a medical outreach. Okay. Do you understand? Because yes, except it's a medical, because the individuals
for
that
indigent people.
What do you mean by that?
People that cannot
afford.
And that's what I'm saying. That's why I said we have non-governmental organizations. Okay, so for example, there was a time I was invited to speak to some community-based women who cannot.
Yes. I disagree. We can go back to I agree because I wanted to say that all these systems work together.
Yes.
Because even when you go to therapy, I just poke nose into different things. I've taken a course in cognitive behavioral therapy and all that. You still need to self-regulate at some point. So that's about at the point where you need to now tell yourself that I need to get out of this, you know, find support systems and all of that. So I think everything goes together. But what I wanted to ask about was the AI. What's the role of AI now? I mean, in terms of therapy, because I know that you can go to all this platform, ChatGPT, and type your issues, and it will get all the answers. It will tell you to give it more perspective. If you share everything, it's gonna. I mean, I've actually experimented with it, and I began to think that, okay, is this a threat to the mental health space? What would you know,
okay,
have
so
to say
thank
about
you.
that?
Like AI, the question is AI getting everybody's job? Okay, so but then as much as yes, I've seen clients who came into therapy and then they say they dropped something on ChatGPT and ChatGPT gave them the answer. But then there is a human part that AI rather cannot do. An empathetic part. Okay, so I was talking to one of my clients and then she said one of the reasons she comes into the room for therapy is hug. AI cannot hug you.
Yet.
I like that idea. You know, so there is that human perspective. You understand that cannot be achieved by AI.
Have you gone for therapy before?
Fair enough. Yes, I have.
No,
Myself, I go for therapy.
Well, not therapy, counseling.
The same way doctors
Yeah.
also need
Like I
I
say,
know whether she just feel that because I'm a therapist.
you can't therapize yourself.
Yes, that's the thing.
I mean,
And
what's
a lot
the
of time, even as therapists, we have onboarding sessions for ourselves also because there are times that you hear so many things that if you're not careful,
It would,
Yes, so we have times where we onboarding as therapists to also help us stay abreast of our health.
I mean, needless to say that I disagree. I mean, I follow my leader. With all that she said, I see a society where there's a lot of awareness that still needs to be done. I mean, Barrister Tojo has talked about the market women. How do they even know? Do you understand? Do they know about these things? Because all they've been taught is be strong, be resilient, and if things don't go right, oh, maybe it's not my fate, or maybe, you know, I'll try again next time. So I'm hoping that, you know, this spreads wide and far.
Can I say something quickly? A lot of times, mental health symptoms or emotional symptoms seem to imitate some symptoms that people will feel like it is my village people that is doing me. So most of these market people tend to run after imams, pastors, looking for those things that therapy would solve. So I just want to add that very quickly. So in our advocacy, that you gave. So in our advocacy is one of those things we would.
Very true. I agree with every single thing we've said. But just before we go, let's see our wise words on the web, because trust me, we've said a lot of important things on the table. All right, healing takes time and asking for help is a courageous step. That's from Mariska Hargitay. Healing takes time and asking for help is a courageous step. So, I mean, we don't need to stigmatize. If you take that bold step to realize that, okay, I think I need help. I think I need therapy. I don't feel myself, then trust me, you are very, very courageous. Okay, so here is what we can agree on after today's conversation. Therapy is not a sign of failure. It's not only for crisis moments as well, and it's definitely not something to be ashamed of. We've established that therapy can be helpful, necessary, and in many cases, life-changing, just like the feedback we heard from our guest. It's a tool for understanding yourself better, unlearning healthy patterns, and choosing healthier ways to live and relate. So a big, big thank you to our guest, Motolani Akintayo. Thank you for your honesty, your clarity, and the expertise that you've brought into this conversation. And to our ladies at the table for keeping it grounded, for sharing their thoughts, and for Barrister Tojo, literally announcing that she's definitely going to go for therapy. I love it. I love it. And if today's discussion made you think differently, then we've done something right. So until next time, we'll see you on another solid episode of The Big Conversation.
Voices rising, stories told, truth unfolding, brave and bold. In this space we speak our mind, different views all intertwined. It's the big conversation where the real ones talk. From the heart of the nation, we all take that walk. Through the fire, through the facts, we don't hold back. It's the big, big conversation. Voices rising, stories told, truth unfolding, brave and bold. In this space we speak our mind, different views all intertwined. It's the big conversation where the real ones talk. From the heart of the nation we all take that walk.